Hey, what's up? Welcome to Fathering Our Future. I'm Anthony Vandegrip, and I'm not the perfect dad, but every day, just like you, I am trying to be better. Something that you may not know about me is that I play the piano. I am not masterful. I will never be on an episode of Piano where I hear something for the first time and then just magically create something beautiful. That's not me. I play at church, and I play when I have free time. I wish I had more time to play and practice, but it's not high enough on my list of priorities, so it comes around when I have time for it. But recently I had the opportunity to play on a baby grand piano, and if you do play the piano, you probably can relate to this. There's just something special about playing on an actual piano in comparison to playing on a keyboard. It's a beautiful creation. So I'm sitting there and I'm playing, and then I realize there's at least two keys that keep getting stuck. And that created challenges because now there's certain keys that I'm trying to avoid. There's certain chords and progressions that I'm trying to stay away from. Even if I play in keys that don't utilize the keys that are getting stuck, I like the jazzier stuff, which means I typically get outside of the key, and now I'm still running into problems because there's things that keep getting stuck. So while this baby grand piano was beautiful, it was not beneficial for me. And I think sometimes this is how our families become. On the outside looking in, our families look beautiful. But when you take a look deep down at the family, sometimes it's not very beneficial for everyone who's a part of that. And I think the primary reason for that is because we function without margin. We, in a sense, budget every minute of our time. And we leave ourselves in this constant state of rush, which leaves us in a constant state of frustration. So today, I want to help your family prosper. And I want to talk to you about protecting your time. I want to break in real quick and let you know how much I appreciate you listening to the podcast. My prayer is that I can be a help and a blessing to you on your fatherhood journey. So if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. And if at any point you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email at fatheringourfuture@gmail.com. And if you want other good content, you can go to the website, check out the blog, and other free resources. Thank you again for listening. Be blessed. Do you remember when you became a dad and all of a sudden those New Balances just hit differently? There's something about fatherhood that impacts your wardrobe, and I'm happy to share that I can help you with that now. Fathering Our Future now has merch. We have sweatshirts and hats and other pieces of clothing that you will enjoy sporting as a father. Just go to fatheringourfuture.com, select merch, or click the link in the description of this episode and get you something that you will enjoy and be proud to wear as a dad. Dad, I want you to know I care about you and I am on your side. So I have a free gift for you. I've put together a 7-day devotional, extracted from my devotional, Following Our Father, to help you realign your identity as a dad to be the dad that God has called you to be and that your children need you to be. Simply click the link in the description below and get your free 7-day devotional. We're going to start with our scripture, 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse number 8. I believe this is the NIV. It says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives and especially for their own household has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Not providing for your own household is equated to denying the faith. Now, when it comes to providing, this can mean multiple things. I think instinctively we think this is about money, but that's not all provision is. In fact, I write in my devotional about our Father is a provider, and I don't highlight the fact that it's about money. I highlight the fact that there are other things that our children need in life that we have to provide for. Sometimes we provide a shoulder for a child to cry on. Sometimes we provide our body for a hug to comfort them. There are other things that we provide for our kids outside of money if we're truly going to provide for their needs. So we are instructed, we are highly encouraged to provide for our households. It's a part of our faith. There is a strong connection to our faith, our relationship with God, and then how we treat our family, how we provide for our household. The two are very much attached. I know a lot of times people want to get into this, and I'm going to actually say something about this at the end, so stick with me because this is going to be one of those hot, controversial takes that some people might not listen to the podcast after this, but it is what it is, and I hope you won't hate me because of it. But we get into this sphere, this arena, where all of a sudden we are trying to balance this. Well, God's number one priority, family comes after that. How do I keep God above family? And I think we make a lot of mistakes in this space because God designed the family. So much of what we do to honor and take care and provide for our wife and for our children and to prioritize our family is, in fact, how we keep God as a priority. Trying to distinguish these two so much and say, well, I know my family needs this, but, there's church tonight on a night that we typically don't have it. We're definitely going to go to church and inconvenience our home because God comes first. And I think sometimes we don't think this all the way through. Sometimes I feel like we have bad theology and we end up hurting our family, which is not something that God wants us to do. I mean, it's literally here in the scriptures, providing especially for their own household. If you don't do that, it is equated to denying your faith, your priority of God. So anyway, I'll get to that. What I want to help you with today, though, is prospering in your home. I want your family to prosper, but you're going to do this by protecting your time. We live in a very busy culture, and it's really not as busy as it is, but we make it busy. Everything is about the hustle. If you want to have success and you want to have freedom in your life, you have to hustle so that you can make money, so that you can pay for it all. I think it's remarkable as we reflect on grandparents, great-grandparents, maybe in some cases even our own parents. When we reflect on the older generations, they did not have riches. But in many cases, they did have peace. And they did have freedom, and they had love, and they had joy, and they did it without the hustle for immense prosperity. We have created some bad ideas, or we have gravitated to some bad ideas, and we've just decided to run with them. There's a really good chance that you are hustling more than you need to. You're going to hustle so much that you find yourself really far away from your family because you were running so fervently after money. So we've just got bad ideas in our culture. Everything is about the hustle. Everything is about being involved in every little thing. And, oh yeah, my kids do this and my kids do that. And I did this and we went here and we went over there and we did that. We just feel like we have to have so much content to share because maybe social media encourages us to do that subconsciously. I don't know. But we function without margin. And when we do that, we're always in a state of rush because we don't give ourselves time to go from one thing to the other. And the crazy thing about rushing is when you're rushing, you are focused on trying to get somewhere else, and you're not focused on one another. And if you find yourself angry at your kids all the time, it's probably because you have no margin in your life, and you are constantly in a state of rush. And when you're rushing, you're not loving. And that's just the end of that conversation. You're not going to love your children the way that you need to and be kind and be good to them when you are trying to do something else, when you are trying to rush. It doesn't happen. It can't. You're not that good at multitasking, and nobody is. And there's plenty of things that we do. One of the things that we do, I hear John Deloney talk about this all the time, that's travel sports. And a lot of people do this. Your kid wants to play ball? Okay, great. So they're going to play ball. Maybe they play at school. Maybe they play in also a summer league and they do other things and you're traveling all the time to go to different things. I saw a post on social media. Somebody shared something and then they related to it and they commented and they said, I haven't seen my husband in 2 or 3 weeks, just because they've been going with the 3 kids that they have back and forth to different things, and their calendars and schedules never aligned for them to be at home at the same time. That's absurd. That is absolutely ridiculous. I wish that people would stop and take a minute and just think about that. Is that really benefiting your kids? No, not if they never get to see mom and dad together. You're the greatest example of love and relationship that your kid will ever get to see. They learn so much from you as a couple, but if you're never together, then they're not learning some of the most beautiful things that they need to learn. When we're constantly involving our kids in all these different activities and traveling all over the place, and we're never together as a family unit, we're never taking time to sit at the dinner table. That was another thing that was trendy. I feel like it's been a year ago now, but people were asking the question, how many nights of the week do you sit down with your family and have dinner? And some people are saying like 1 or 2 nights a week. Now, I understand that maybe your particular situation, you're working a ton of overtime. I would challenge you and say, do you need to live in the house that you're trying to pay for? Do you need to drive the cars that you're trying to drive? Do you need to do the activities that you're trying to do? Are you living a life that is too costly for you? Because if it's costing you time with your family, that's a huge cost that you don't get back. Money can always buy a house. There's always going to be the next big, better home. They just keep getting built. They exist. You can't go back and get time with your kids. That doesn't happen. Time continues to move, and it does not relent. Just consider the busyness of your life. If you're not able to sit down with your family, I mean, honestly, I feel like it ought to happen every night of the week. But at least 4 nights of the week. More times than not, you ought to be able to sit down as a family and share a meal together. And if that's not happening, you need to do whatever you need to do to make it happen. You need that, and your kids especially need that. So I know we get our kids involved in things sometimes, and we just feel like there's an obligation because they say they like it to keep doing it. This is not always the case. I think specifically with our family, we wanted to get our kids involved in certain things to help them with other things. So my daughter Reagan, we wanted to get her involved in something to help her not be so shy all the time, to get her out, to make other friends. And she does great at this. She's been doing great at it at school. Honestly, she probably didn't even need the extracurricular activity, but she loves princesses and she loves ballerinas. And so she wanted to do a dance class. And so she does a dance class and she's had fun. And we've talked to her about not doing it. And she's okay with that. Because we've figured something out. We've figured out why she really loves going to dance class. Her dance class, unfortunately, had to fall on a Saturday morning, which is a huge inconvenience for the family and a big reason why we want to cancel things. Now, we have offered to potentially move her to a different night of the week, and she's okay just not going since it's not going to be on Saturday. And the reason why is because it's usually her and mom. Sometimes it's me and her, but it's like her special day. She goes to dance, and because of when she goes to dance, she has to immediately have lunch. Otherwise, she'd be having lunch at like 2:30 by the time she got home. So she always gets a special daddy-daughter day or mommy-daughter day, and she's getting to go eat lunch. Oftentimes, she's end up getting a milkshake, which she really enjoys. Same. Sometimes she's going shopping with mom. And she just gets that one-on-one time. That's really why she loves going to dance, because she gets time with her family, focused one-on-one time. If we would just take time to really analyze why our kids enjoy the things that they enjoy, I feel like many of us would come to realize that it's not necessarily the activity. It's just the little bit of time that they sometimes get with us, because when we're at home and we're trying to organize everything and schedule everything and not fall behind, we're not focused on them. And this activity is a way that they get some of our time. And it's a sad reality. And I just hope that this can be a bit of a wake-up call for you to just really think about the inner workings of your home and what needs to go. Because all of us can probably get rid of some things. My son really likes to draw. We had him in an online drawing class, and he did it on Tuesday nights. And he got to the point where he just felt like he didn't need it. He still likes to draw, but he just didn't want it. So we tried it just to give him something. It was a gift. It was exposure. It was experience. But he was okay not doing it again. I said, buddy, you could always do some of this other stuff on YouTube. We could figure out something else that we could do. And he was fine with that. Just have conversations with your kids. Now, if you've gone years and years and your kids are 11, 12, 13 up, maybe this conversation is more difficult. But maybe if they realize that you're going to be more intentional about being with them and they get more time with you, then that's probably a blessing that they're happy to receive. Have the conversation. I think sometimes maybe this boils down to FOMO, which it's funny, babies really have this. Our newest baby definitely has this. But I feel like sometimes as adults we get this fear of missing out. That if I don't do this and I don't do this, I won't have a full life to share later with my grandkids. You can't make your whole experience of life about what stories am I going to be able to share when I'm old. You have the most beautiful opportunity right now. These are the days. These are the good old days. I don't want you to get down 20 years from now and look back and say, I really missed it. Please don't do that. Know that the days that you are most deeply desiring are literally today. It's today. It's not 10 years from now. It is today. In the midst of all the questions and concerns and struggles and challenges, these are the days that you desire. You just have to open your eyes and see that. Don't be so consumed with, I'm going to miss out. No, if you try to go and do everything else, then you are going to miss out. Our remedy to our fear is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because we don't want to miss out on the beauty of life, we involve ourselves in every little thing and we end up missing out on the beauty of life because it's not the things, it's the people in your home. The activities are not going to bring you fulfillment. It's the conversations that you get to have with your children. It's the hugs and the embrace that you get to share with them. It's the moments that you actually get to tuck your kids in bed because you're home at night. It's the fun little games and conversations that you get to have while you're sitting at the dinner table. All of these things that are meaningful happen because you are together, not because of the activities that you are doing. If you're worried about missing out, you already are missing out on the beauty that is today, that is in your home, and that is right now. Hey, if you're a new dad or choosing to embark on a fresh start as a father, I have a gift for you. I wrote a book a while back called Cut the Crap, Direct Tips for Becoming a Dad. I don't teach you how to change a diaper. That one's totally on you. But I do talk about 5 elements that you need to focus on as a dad if you want to be the dad your children need you to be. Now, this is completely free. It is yours. There's no strings attached. The only thing that I'd like you to consider is if the book brings value to you as a father, make a contribution by going to fatheringourfuture.com/support. But you don't have to. Again, it is a free gift from me to you. The link is in the description after the end of the episode. Click it, get your copy, and I pray that it helps you. Everyone has an opinion on fatherhood, but there's only one place that we should actually look, and that's to God, our Father. That's why I wrote Following Our Father, a devotional for dads. In this, I cover 30 qualities and attributes of our Father in heaven that help us better understand our identity as dads. Each devotional is followed up with a daily step so that we can take the principles of our Father and immediately apply them to our own lives. This is a tool and a resource in your hands that will bless you. Click the link in the description and get yourself a copy of Following Our Father today. A while back, I did a reel. I sat down and I tried to think about how much time do we actually get with our kids. So I'm thinking from the time that they're born until the time that they graduate, and I'm leaving some space here to go up to about the age of 19 to when they're potentially moving out to go to college. Potentially, maybe this happens, maybe it doesn't. But by the time they're 18 and they're out of high school, they're probably going to start working a job. And they're probably going to have very, very minimal time to be around you. So I'm focusing on the time that they're in your house and they are dependent that you claim. And realistically, we have less than 30,000 hours. You can do the math. I did the math, and I based it on, I think about 2.5 hours per day, Monday through Friday, 10 hours on Saturday, 9 hours on Sunday. And I'm thinking focus time. So I'm not necessarily including, you go to church together. Do you actually do anything together when you're at church? If you have kids, they're probably in Sunday school or in some sort of youth class. They're probably not right there with you. You're not praying with your kids more than likely. And even if you do that, you're not praying the entire time, because if you're doing that, you're not listening to the sermon, and then you're kind of missing the point of going to church. So anyway, that's how I divided that up. But I didn't include travel sports. I didn't include overtime. I didn't include you have business travel. I didn't include all the days that are surprises where things come up and you're not planning on that, and you have to call an audible and you don't get to have the time that you were planning on having. I think I'm being very generous in saying that you have less than 30,000 hours with your kids until they're out of your home. Now, the reason that I broke this down into hours is because we kind of have a standard that we function by in our world, and that is if you're going to develop mastery of a subject or a topic, 10,000 hours is pretty much the minimum. This is what we equate mastery to. If you've devoted 10,000 hours to a topic, well, then you have developed a sense of mastery with that topic, with that skill, with whatever it is. That means that we don't even get to help our children master 3 things. 2 things at best is what we get to help them master. And so then the question comes back to us, well, then what in the world are we going to help our kids master? What characteristics, what attributes, what qualities, what skills are we going to help our kids master? We get to help them with 2. So what do we pick? What are we picking? Are we even intentional about that? And I think that this is something that needs to be top of mind for us. What are we helping our kids develop? If we can help them master 2, maybe break it down. We can help them potentially halfway master a few. We can get them started in various skill sets. It's a good way to approach it too. But what are we doing with that time? If the time is always giving them to other people to teach them something else, then what in the world are we actually helping our kids master? If we are essential and vital to our kids, which I say often, and which we all believe, we get mad when people try to knock fathers and say, yeah, dads aren't necessary. We fight against that, but then we drop our kids off at every other place and we let other people teach our kids things. We're not practicing what we preach when we do that. If we think we are that necessary for our kids, then why are we not making time for us to be with our kids? I don't know. We don't get that much time. So let me give you some advice. Say no. Start saying no. When people ask you things, if you don't have time for it, say no. honor your family, honor your priorities, honor your boundaries. If your family is that high of a priority, which it should be, next to God, it's your wife and your kids. So it's God and it's family, and then everything else falls underneath that. If you don't have time for it, and I would caution you to err on the side of under committing. If you don't have time for it, then say no. If people get upset because you say no, let them get upset. You're not as responsible for other people as you are for your home. So start saying no and don't overcommit. This is kind of what I've harped on. You don't have to have your kids in everything. They don't need that. Your kid doesn't have to play basketball, football, baseball, and soccer. Doesn't have to. If they enjoy one, that's fine. If they enjoy two, okay. But really think things through. Do we have time to actually focus on the things that matter most? I mean, I think it's ridiculous that you have so many people. Yeah, they go pro and they make money, but they still sit there with this void in their life because they were never around their dad. They were never with their parents, and they love them, but their relationship is just kind of in limbo. God, I do not want that for me and my kids. I don't want that for you and your kids. Trying to say, my kids will be better off if I'm not there as much, or if they can go pro in a particular sport and they can have lots of money, and that'll be great. Money does not solve those problems. It doesn't. Money doesn't buy you love. It's a catchy title, made for a decent movie, I guess, but it's true. You can't buy those feelings. You simply can't. So don't overcommit. Now, let me tell you something that we do that I alluded to at the very beginning that I contemplated even sharing, but I said I would, so I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Our practice with our kids has been bedtime at 8 o'clock, and maybe that will be stretched out as they get a little bit older, but we prioritize sleep in our home. It's a good thing to do. If you research it and you study it, then you'll probably side with us on that. It's important. People need to sleep. Sleep is very, very good and beneficial for each and every one of us. These people who are like, I need 4 hours of sleep a night. No, you don't. Not if you want to live to 44. You need more sleep. So we prioritize sleep in our home. Our kids have a bedtime at 8 o'clock. At the very latest, 8:30 is when they get to sleep. But we are typically starting our routine for bedtime around 7:30 at the latest. And we give our kids margin because we know that if you tell 3 little kids, 8, 6, and 4, to go brush your teeth and put your PJs on, that it's not going to simply take 2 minutes for them to brush their teeth and 2 minutes for them to put PJs on. No, they get a full 30 minutes because they get up there and they get very distracted because they are kids. So one thing that we don't do is we don't attend midweek service at church. Now, I know some people will hear that and think, holy smokes, you don't go to church. You willingly don't go to church. And I know that that's going to bother some people. I know that it is. And I'm not sharing this to say you shouldn't go to church in the middle of the week. I'm just sharing a personal reason as to why we do what we do and how we prioritize our home and manage our time. We live 40 minutes, 45 minutes from our church. We have a bit of a scoot. Our kids get ready for bed at 7:30. Church in the midweek service starts at 7:30. Our kids are asleep by 8. Midweek service is at least an hour. So even when we didn't live super far, at the earliest, our kids would be getting to bed at 9:15. Now our kids wouldn't be getting to bed until 9:30 at the earliest if we were doing the midweek service. Our kids wake up just after 6 because their school day starts at 7:20. So we have made the decision to not go to midweek service because we're trying to prioritize the benefits of our family, sleep being a part of that, time with each other being a part of that. And so we made the decision to not go. Doesn't mean that we don't stream it. Doesn't mean that we are trying to not go to church. That's not the case. I am in great standing with our pastoral team here at the church. I'm at the church right now. I don't have space in my home to record these podcasts. I have full access to the church pretty much whenever I want to come up here and do stuff because they support me, this, and my family. I'm still asked to be involved in different things. And you may think, well, you skip church willingly. Yes, because I believe that God has given me an obligation, a responsibility to provide and to take care of my home. And if I'm getting my kids to sleep an hour and a half after they probably need to get to sleep and reducing the rest that they get and making them tired, more tired than they probably already are in the mornings for school, what benefits am I really doing? And so that's a choice that we make. We stay super involved with people from our church. We have great community. We have great friendships. We're here on Sundays, unless there's a flat tire or a blowout of a diaper. And you probably know what I'm talking about there. But that's a decision that we make. Controversial, I know. Some people are going to be like, oh, I can no longer listen to this podcast because he endorses not going to church midweek. I'm not endorsing that. I'm just saying that's what we choose to do because we want to prosper as a family by protecting our time. I have no conviction about missing a midweek service. I don't. And some people might not like that, but time with your family is super important. God created this family unit for you to take care of it, for you to prioritize it. And I wholeheartedly believe when we honor our wives, our children, our families, when we take care of them, when we do what is best for them, that is pleasing to God. I think it's pleasing to God when we honor our families. So my advice to you would be to take a look at your homes, at your families, and reorder some things. Because you probably are not providing yourself margin. You probably are rushing way more than you need to be. And you can fix that. You don't have to be involved in every activity. You don't have to go to every event. You don't. You really don't. And you also have this incredible superpower called saying no. If somebody asks, hey, can you help me with this? Can you do this? I'm sorry, I can't. I have an obligation to my family. Now, don't use it as an excuse to never help other people. There are things that come up that you absolutely should. The story that I shared at the very beginning, I played that baby grand piano for 3 hours because I was asked to do it because we had an 18-year-old who attended our church. Her family still attended our church. She had just moved to a different church. She died in a fatal car accident. And they wanted some music in the foyer area during the viewing. And so I said, I will absolutely do that. I will 100% do that to help. So my mother watched our kids while I played the piano for 3 hours for this family. There are things that come up that you will accept, and that's totally fine. But those need to be the things that are out of the norm. Spending time with your family doesn't need to be a treat. That needs to be the norm. If you're like, oh, it's so nice that we get to spend time together. If you have ever said that, then that is your clear indication that your life is crammed full of things that are not necessary. Because having time together ought to be the norm, not a treat. It should be great, but if you have to think of it like, oh, this is a special thing that we actually just get time as a family, you have a serious problem, and I pray that you fix it. So I want you to focus on time together more than anything else. Prioritize your family. Honor God in the way that you love and treat your family. Prosper, and do it by protecting your time. Let's pray. Jesus, we thank you for your word that gives us guidance, that gives us instruction on how we ought to live, on how we ought to father our children, love our wives, and provide for our homes. Help us, God, to be faithful in this. Help us, God, to honor you in the way that we tend to our families. God, help each and every one of us to take a deep look into our homes, into the activities that we're involved in, into the engagements that we participate in, God. And help us to make what may be difficult decisions to say, we can no longer do this, or this has got to stop, or these things need to change, and they need to change today. Help us, God, to see the beauty in your creative design of the family and the necessity of the family being together. God, help us to prioritize that above everything else and to order and design our lives so that we can be present with our families as much as possible. God, give us wisdom as we do this and help us to do it in a way that is pleasing in your sight. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. I hope you still love me. I hope you still subscribe to the podcast. Know that if you listen to this, which I know that there's hundreds of people who do, who have not yet rated and left a review of the podcast, please do that because it helps other people find this podcast and it helps other fathers learn different things and different strategies that they can incorporate in their homes to be better dads. Again, I'm not the perfect dad, but just like you, I am trying every single day to be better. So leave a review, leave a rating. I would greatly appreciate that. I know that what we're doing is not always easy. I know that there are tons of questions that we constantly contemplate and try to figure out the right answers to, and maybe we'll never get them, but we just have to keep doing our best and striving. But in the struggle, know that you're not alone. I'm with you. If you ever need me, fatheringourfuture@gmail.com is how you can reach me, and I will do my best to help you. You've got this. Stick with it. Thank you so much for being with me. This is Father in Our Future. I'm Anthony Vandegrift, and I hope you'll join me next time. Hey, one more time, I want to thank you for listening to Fathering Our Future. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, please do so wherever you listen and consider leaving a nice review because I would appreciate that. But if you're not connected to Fathering Our Future on social media, you can find it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and there you're going to get some additional content on a more regular basis that you don't always get here on the podcast. Now, the last thing that I would like to ask of you is that you would consider becoming a financial partner of Fathering Our Future, because dads make a difference, and dads are not disposable. Dads are vital, and they are essential, and they are needed. And the impact that dads make doesn't just reside in the home, but it has a ripple effect that goes to churches and communities and culture. And I'm inviting you to be a part of equipping and empowering and educating dads to be the dad that God has called them to be and that their children need them to be. You can become a financial partner with Fathering Our Future. It can be a one-time contribution, a monthly commitment, but by doing that, you play a direct role in impacting dads. You can check the link in the description below. You can pray about it. You can get on board. And I thank you in advance for becoming a part of Fathering Our Future in a special and a dynamic way. God bless you.